So take a look at this problem I've been having with my hay. So I buy these big, huge 1,400 pound bales, 4 of them at a time. And it lasts me about a month. And I start using the front ones, and what happens is the whole trailer actually starts lifting up because all the weight's in the back. So what I need to do is move these big 1,400 pound bales to the front of the trailer. And let me show you how to do that. So I actually have this old battery right here and a little remote control for my winch. And let me show you how that gets hooked up. Okay, so here's the setup. Basically this attaches to the cables on my winch, and this just plugs into my remote. And I try to get as much of this hay out of here so it doesn't get caught up in the just up in the spool of cable here. And then what you need to do first is you need to let it go out. Yeah. So what I normally do is I don't know if I can do this with one hand. If I pull on this, I almost need 2 hands for that. So I'm going to actually stretch that cable over to the bale here. So I stretch this cable over to the bale here, and then what I do is I just use a little piece of baling twine and just kind of loop it through one of the strands on the bale, and then bring this over and then hook this on like so, just like that. And then I'll take the remote, and it's got it in and out, and I'll run it in, and I'll stand back. One thing you want watch out for is if that thing snaps, you don't want to be in the line of where it's going to snap. So. Oh, and that's the first time I've ever actually had one snap, which is amazing. So normally I actually bring it up to like right here. So I'll just attach it to another line and I'll bring it up. Huh. Wow. It must be hung up on something. That was pretty incredible. Okay, just out of, for simplicity's sake, I think this is smoothed up enough here. And basically what I'll do is I'll keep using this bale over here until it's done to about there. And then I'll do the other side and move that bale all the way up. And use that one probably next. So then what I normally do is I take these small bales and I put it behind the big bale. Because if you pop all those wires, what happens is all the hay comes off the back and the front, and you get a big mess. And this just kind of firms it up and holds it all together. All right, so that snapping twine was ridiculous. I can't even believe it. So from here, I'm just gonna cover it up, and pretty much good for now. And then this battery and stuff, I just keep it in the garage. And you definitely have to cover it to keep the rain off, but that's basically how I move the bales. So I was up in the middle of the night last night thinking about Amani and her puppies, and she hasn't had them yet. And I came out late last night, and we had a cold front that moved through, and it was, mid-30s. And I came out here and it was like 63. I thought that was too cold for Amani and her puppies. So I was thinking all night, what can I do? And the first thing I thought of was to insulate. And I have some foam insulation in the garage. I was thinking, oh, I can, put some insulation all around and I don't have enough, and it's going to take all day, and if I tear it all apart, you know, Monty can have her babies. I was thinking all these things, and then I kind of got the idea, hey, how about adding another heat source? And that's when I came up with the heat lamp idea. So this is kind of my final version, doghouse version number 12. So what I did is I put this heat lamp, and it gets so hot in here. It was actually almost 80 degrees in here when I just came in. So what I did is I ran that to a little thermostat that I happen to have, and I set it on. It's like it's 81 degrees in here, and it's set at 75. And I have the little probe here. So that actually should come on if it gets below 75. And this thing is cranking some heat still, and it's pretty warm in here. So this should be nice and toasty for Imani and her puppies. And actually, if it gets too warm in here, then this thing will actually switch to air conditioning mode, which is nice. So it shouldn't get too hot. That's the neighbor's dogs they've been barking at. Can't believe they let them loose out here. That's crazy. Alright guys, you are not going to believe this. So I was going through my rack this morning, and I discovered my 9th clutch of ball python eggs. I can't even believe it. I'm starting to think I need some more hatchling racks, because this one only holds 39, and then I have a few extra tubs here, so I'm looking at, you know, maybe 40, and I already have like 58 eggs in the incubator. So I'm actually thinking, I measured it out, and if I move this rodent rack over here, it gives me a little extra room here, and I could squeeze in an ARS 1065, which would give me 65 more tubs. But things are really getting crazy. I can't even believe it. So it's actually this girl here. Surprise, surprise. And she's got a big clutch. Really nice big clutch. Now look, she only started at 1,949 grams for the season, and she laid some really nice big eggs, and quite a few of them. So let's move her over to the table here. Alright, she is hissing and jumping. She doesn't want to give up those eggs, huh? Look at her, she is after it. She's a good looking pinstripe, and I actually bred her with my bamboo, another bamboo clutch. So it'll be kind of neat to see what comes out of there. I should get bamboos, pinstripes, and pinstripe bamboos, and probably some normals. So I was actually about to move her down to this extra tub, and I realized Lucy made a big mess, so I had to clean out that tub before I started on her. But yeah, let's see if we can get her off of her eggs. And I think she looks like she's done laying, so we'll see how this goes. She's been sitting out here for a little bit, so I think she's more relaxed. That might be actually a good trick to kind of just let them sit out on the table for a little bit, but it definitely looks like her eggs are all out of her body, which is good. Wow, she's a really long snake. I didn't realize how long she was. She almost fills that whole bullet tub. So she could actually use a lot more weight before she breeds. I think she's a little bit younger. Yeah, she's from 2012, so I guess she's 6 years old. So let's see what we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 8 eggs. Nice. And I'm gonna see if I can actually maybe take off the top one. See how stuck together they are. Yeah. I can take this one off, looks like. It's pretty stuck, but not as bad as the last clutch. I think maybe if I take this one off, I don't know about that. It's still pretty stuck. That's really stuck. Boy. I don't know if you can see that, but it's... try not to rip the egg. I don't know, I'm tempted just to leave that in my nesting box the way it is. And the funny thing about it, sometimes they stick to the bottom, but since she laid on paper towels, I could probably just peel the paper towel off. So once I picked these up, I was actually able to separate them a little better. So, I don't know if you can see that, but I prefer to actually to separate all the eggs if I can. And they're actually coming apart fairly well. Just need a little patience. I'll see if I can separate them and candle them. And once you pick them up, it's easier. It's weird how they kind of stick together like that. And I usually just take it real slow. Yeah, they're all coming apart. There we go. Perfect. Haha, 8 of them. I think I need another box. I pulled one out of the incubator over here, but I think I'm going to do 2 boxes for this. Alright, so I set these up with, if you watch my other videos, I just use these shoe boxes, plastic shoe boxes, and Glad press and seal, and 50/50 vermiculite water. So the next thing I'm going to do is candle them. There's the embryo on the top. There's another one. So if you haven't seen this before, it's basically that little circle that you want on the top of the egg. I have good veins in all of these. So this one's interesting. The embryo was actually laid with the embryo on the bottom, which is interesting. It's got the paper towel on top. And take a look at this one. This embryo is laid on the side. So I put them all in the egg box, and since they kind of sink down, I was marking them with a marker where the embryo was, but since I kind of push them down a little bit and work them kind of into the vermiculite, and I figure they're not going to move, so there's really no use marking them because they're in there pretty good. So then what I'm doing is I'm just putting Glad press and seal on the top, and putting the lid back on, and then I'll label them with the date laid, the date they're supposed to hatch, and the parents. So kind of the next thing that I do is I basically label the rack, the date that they laid eggs, and I had off feed because she was gravid and ready to lay, so she hasn't eaten in a long time, so I'll move the off feed up to the side and know that she laid eggs. So my last one actually laid eggs on the 16th of May, and I actually ran out of the small label maker tape, and I had to actually use the big tape for the tub. But in this, the laid eggs, I actually don't do a magnetic strip for that. I just put it on there, and then at the end of the breeding season, I'll probably just take all those laid eggs labels off. So you can see probably at least half my snakes have laid eggs. So about halfway, I'd say we're at least halfway through the breeding season. What will be the date in 55 days?
It's Saturday, July 14th, 2018.
That's kind of cheating. Okay, now that we set these eggs up and labeled them, they will go in the incubator for about 2 months, and then in 2 months I'll show you what the results are. So for the snake, we can put her back in, and this girl's kind of funny. She's always been a runner, so every time you open the tub she wants to get out. Even when she was pregnant and full of eggs and gravid, she just always is on the go, on the go, on the go. And she's definitely not after food, because you try to feed her and It's definitely not like a food, like she's looking for food. So, and a lot of people say that they wash their snakes after they lay eggs and wash the whole tub. And I haven't washed a single snake. Or, you know, I suppose I went through and washed the tub if they made a mess, but I don't worry about it at all. And all my females, sometimes they'll stay coiled up for, maybe a week, week and a half, and then they'll go right back on food, and they'll be pounding the big rats again. So one of my viewers made a comment below one of my videos, and they said, why don't you use F10 instead of bleach for your tubs, because it's safer for reptiles. And yeah, I thought that was a great idea. So I decided to actually get 2 different spray bottles, and I haven't labeled them yet, but I'm going to use one for bleach and one for F10. And I can use the bleach for the rodents. I think it's probably a little bit more potent. And then I'll use the F10 for all the snake tubs, and if there's a little left, it won't hurt them at all, which is a great idea. So I appreciate the comments, and thanks for watching. I will see you next time.